I'm Robbie Aronson, and this is The Bottom Line, Liverpool from the USA.
Welcome to The Bottom Line, Liverpool from the USA. I recently had a chance to speak with Fox Sports play-by-play commentator Keith Costigan about the Reds. Stay tuned and enjoy the show. So I guess let's start with the Wolves game. Liverpool won 1-0 against Wolves. Goal by Diogo Jota at the end of the first half. A bad injury to Rui Patricio. But the Reds looked a lot better. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, I think it was one of those wins that when things are going badly, that's the way you get your wins, right? It's like you fight for it. It's gritty. It's defensive. Not necessarily in terms of sitting back or anything like that. It was just literally about fighting for every second ball. I think it was Kabak and Phillips one more game together. I thought they looked really, really good defensively. So I think in that regard, those two, Fabinho back in midfield, we saw us fight again. And those were the games that last year I thought Liverpool won more than anybody else, and that's what made them champions. The games where, look, it wasn't great going forward, but we never really looked threatened because of how strong defensively we were. So I was super pleased. I think those games build into you playing a lot better going forward. But those give you the base to be more confident moving forward. So big 3 points, and Wolves are a team that always play well for me. So I think it was a good place to go and get a win.
What do you make of Kabak since he's come over to Liverpool?
Yeah, I think he's a 20-year-old one for one. So I think I don't care how good or what level you're at. You're coming into a situation where defensive instability has been there all season. So I think there has to be a little bit of nerves there. You come in, you play with different partners for 3 or 4 games straight, and then you have the press in England being the press in England. We don't know who you are, so that means you're not good, you know. Or Schalke didn't win, so that means every piece of the Schalke team is bad. I think, you know, even in the Leicester game, there were signs he was playing well. I know the mistake with Alisson, but I put that more on the goalkeeper than I did on Kabak. So I felt like, you know, he's shown ability. When you think in a modern game, there's talk of the price being 18 million for him if you want to, you know, fulfill the transfer. I think, you know, if you have Kabak as your third or fourth center back in a championship squad, I think you're doing well. I think he reads the game quite well. He's quite quick. He's not afraid of the physical side of the game. And at 20, he already has experience. He's already played in the Champions League. He's already played in the highest level in Germany. So for me, I've been impressed. The last 2 games, it's got better and better. And I think it's got better as well because he goes, hey, look, I know I'm beside someone now. We start to work and understanding together. That's been, I mean, 20 different central defensive partnerships is absolutely ridiculous. It's the one area of the field where you need to have a really common understanding. So I've been impressed. I think he's done well. And I think if you read Liverpool fan sites and stuff and you see their comments, I don't want to say begrudgingly, but, you know, after the last game, a couple of them were like, Kabak lad's not that bad. And that's Liverpool fan code for he's a lot better than we thought he was. So I'm happy for him, and he's definitely made Liverpool better defensively.
And same with Phillips too. I mean, you read these pages and you see all these memes coming out. Like I saw something about Phillips would headbutt his nan if it was meant to win a header. I mean, like, I think the Liverpool fans have really taken to him. And you know what? For how good Fabinho was playing at center back in the beginning of the season, and he was maybe our best player until the injury, whatever. But to have him back into the midfield and then have that defensive, like, real defensive partnership, the only thing that really is the downside of it is that Curtis Jones isn't necessarily getting into the team, which he was playing very well. But I've been very, very impressed with Nat Phillips, just in terms of we're having all these defensive struggles and everyone's talking about the defense. But really, the problem is we've scored 11 goals in 13 Premier League games since the turn of the year. It's the forwards that aren't firing. I mean, what do you think of Sadio Mane? I think for me, like, is it a loss of confidence that he's not scoring as many goals? Do you think he's just struggling with rhythm? Like, why don't you think the forward line's firing as much?
Yeah, I mean, let me go back to the Nat Phillips one first, and then I'll get to Mane, because I don't know whether Nat Phillips, my friend worked at the Bolton Academy, Tony Warner, an ex-Liverpool goalkeeper. So I was actually at Bolton 4 or 5 years ago, and he was telling me, hey, there's this kid, he's going to America. And and I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah, he's the gaffer, because his boss was Nat's dad. And they said, yeah, the gaffer's dad is going to go to America. So and then I spoke with his dad, and he went, yeah, he's not here today, but He's going to go to North Carolina and go to college there. I think it was actually North Carolina, Charlotte. And then fast forward a month and a half later, my mate says to me, hey, Liverpool are signing him now. He's not going to go. And I'm like, oh, well, he's never going to play. So, I mean, it's absolutely incredible story. But getting onto the forwards, yeah, I mean, I think Liverpool, play with a high line. They win the ball back in such high areas when everybody's firing, that our forwards are getting the ball and a lot more times in threatening positions than we've seen recently. All of a sudden now we're getting balls in behind us. We're having to defend a little bit deeper, drop all the way off. And our attack is taking too longer to develop. And then it becomes a little bit more predictable to defend. So, I would add in the fact that you mentioned the word confidence, and I definitely think that plays into it too. I don't think Mane has played with the highest level of confidence over the last couple of months, but I think those elements in terms of the way we play into it. But I still see, I saw signs in the Wolves game that was coming back as well. I think Jota as a centre forward really added to the team. The combination for the goal was absolutely excellent. So I'd agree. I think it's all interrelated. The fact that we've lost defenders, we're not as aggressive at winning the ball back. But now I think Fabinho going into midfield changes that. And I think the goals will start to come again, because you saw the goals against Leipzig. Yes, it was just 1-0 against Wolves, but I expect Liverpool to be a lot more prolific towards the end of the season.
And now we just see with Trent Alexander Arnold not making the England squad, what do you make of Trent's play this season, and what do you think of that decision by Gareth Southgate not to choose a single Liverpool player?
I think Trent was up and down. He had COVID at the start of the year. He missed out on pre-season, and that was a blow, and he was always kind of playing catch up. But I actually think over the last few weeks he's played his best games of the season. I don't just mean going forward. I mean defensively. I don't think there's a better footballing fullback in the country than Trent Alexander-Arnold. His ability to pass the ball, his ability to read the game in terms of going forward. And now you add in the fact that he's playing better defensively. He was really, really connected. Neto's a great player for Wolves, and he denied him the ability to go forward, those kind of things. So I think in those situations, for Gareth Southgate to come out and say, well, form and this and that, and then have the likes of Eric Dyer in the squad is pretty ridiculous. I don't think Southgate was ever the biggest fan of Trent, if I'm being honest. And look, if I'm Trent, I'd probably say, yeah, I haven't played as well. So, you use it as, fuel to prove somebody wrong. But if you're asking me, should Trent be in the England squad? There's absolutely no doubt he should be there, given his body of work and what a player that he is.
Off the England squad, I want to go quickly to the Champions League draw. We drew Real Madrid in the next round. And then if we go on forward, we'll play the winner of Chelsea and Porto before the final, hopefully. But what do you make of that draw? I saw you tweeted it earlier, and so I want to get your first initial reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy with the draw. I think Liverpool are best when teams come out and play. I know a lot of people were saying Porto would be a really good draw and this and that. But for me, Porto were going to be defensive. Conceição, the coach, loves to sit back. And Liverpool have struggled this season to break teams down like that. So for me, Real Madrid are going to come at you. Yes, they have more offensive weapons, but I do think going toe-to-toe with Real Madrid isn't, it isn't something that should really strike, incredible fear into Liverpool fans. I think you respect them, but this isn't the Real Madrid of, 2-3 years ago. I was at the final when we lost to Real Madrid, and I really think it changed on the Salah, injury. And I was actually there in 2009 when we beat them 4-0 at Anfield. The atmosphere was electric. That's the one thing that, I get a little bit sad thinking that, like, what a night this would have been at Anfield again. Real Madrid, it's two of Europe's elite, in terms of winning the Champions League. But yeah, look, Real Madrid can beat anybody on their day. That's how good they are. They have excellent players. But I think this is a draw that Liverpool will feel they can go through. They can exploit some of Real Madrid's defensive issues. I don't think Real Madrid are as good attack-wise as they have been in previous years. So, I'm not displeased with this draw. And you go on and you play Chelsea, and potentially Chelsea in the semi-final. We've done that before, and that's kind of worked out as well.
Maybe
with,
another school, huh?
Yeah, exactly. with a lot lesser teams, or less talent than we have now. So, yeah, I'm happy. To avoid Bayern as long as you can is
And
good.
Bayern playing PSG, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting. A lot of people have said, "Oh, Liverpool." I've seen Chelsea fans going, "These are the teams we want. We want Liverpool." And I'm like, "Okay, easy. Let's look at our track record in Europe." So I'm happy. I think it'll be a good tie, and I'm relatively confident that Liverpool will go through.
I couldn't help but think of the last time we played Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, and with that lineup where
Cool.
Rodgers decides to drop Gerrard. Is that the worst lineup that you can remember as a Liverpool fan, that for such an important game?
Unfortunately, not the worst lineup, because I remember Roy Hodgson. Yeah, I mean, let's not even get into that. But yeah, no, I mean, look, for me, it was bizarre because, it was almost the beginning of the end for Rodgers, really, because Liverpool worked so hard to get back in the Champions League, to play at places like the Bernabeu. And then you go there and you play this shadow team, basically saying, we're not going to beat you anyway. So my thing was well, why did we qualify for the Champions League if we're going to lay over like this against a team that we should be beating? And it was that was 2014, right?
I believe so.
Or yeah,
14-15 season.
Yeah, so you fast forward just 3 years, and Jurgen Klopp has taken us to the final. So if anybody wants to talk about how far the club came in a short space of time, but yeah, looking back on that day and looking at the team, it's wow. I mean, our squad, we complain now we're missing Van Dijk and then this and that, and then we go, hang on, let's look at the 11 last time we played Real Madrid. We're still in a good place right now. We should go into this with some confidence.
I'm Robbie Aronson, and this is The Bottom Line, Liverpool from the USA.